And then there is drip and microsystems. Microsystems can be little spinners or sprays, and then we have and they're solid set, so's the drip. It's another form of solid set, but it's point water being emitted out at a spot. So agriculture has a very wide range of types of irrigation. The next would be turf. In 1995, the turf irrigation industry outsold the ag irrigation industry for the first time in the history of the industry. That's pretty revealing, considering the thousands and thousands of acres that are irrigated in both ways. You know, we're getting to the point now where there are many millions of acres irrigated in turf. And that has driven the turf market to a very high level as far as manufacturing is concerned, to the point where it now surpasses in dollar volume the ag market. So there's a lot of jobs out there in irrigation in the turf industry. And we have to be aware that they're a major player now in the irrigation industry. And in turf, you're looking at golf courses, schools, college campuses, you know, high school campuses, grade schools, middle schools. You're looking at play fields, parks, stadiums, other ball fields, cemeteries, commercial property, and residential lawns. So you can see the millions of acres that are out there to be irrigated. Interesting fact, if you go to King County, people always think of Seattle as an area where it just rains all the time. Well, if you ever spend a summer over there, you know it can get a little dry in the summer, and in fact this summer it got quite dry, and you could see a fair amount of brown lawns in Seattle. Well, if you build commercial property in King County, by law you must landscape it and you must put irrigation on it. So the marketplace in even a major city is extremely significant. There's a very, very, very large sales volume of turf-related sales of irrigation equipment in any major city, particularly where there's growth. So you get an area like the Northwest where there is just constant growth, we're going to see constant, solid sales in turf irrigation equipment. Very, very large market in this state and in Oregon. Then there's other uses. Besides your ag and turf, there's some real different things, and we're going to look at those to a point as we go through the program. Things like dust suppression and log curing. You know, you go by a sawmill and there will be sprinklers out over the top of the log piles, and they're irrigating them during the summertime when it's hot and dry. They don't want those logs to dry out in the stack. They want to get them cut before they dry them. So they don't want them drying out and splitting and checking before they ever get them to the sawyer. We see in the mining industry where they use it to establish and also act as a soil wind blowing suppression device. All of the overburden that they take off of these open pit mines. It's a big industry. And as we get into this, we'll see a few other waste disposal. And some of that waste disposal goes right back into the turf industry or the ag industry. Oftentimes we are taking a thing we call gray water. That is water that comes out of, for example, a food processing plant, and we'll turn right around and irrigate it back on a field where we're growing alfalfa or grass or wheat or something else. And how do we go about making this irrigation work for us? You know, initially the first irrigation was done with ditches. It'd be pretty darn hard to irrigate your home lawn with a ditch. Would be mine. I got too much slope on it. I don't know how I'd do it. If it was a dead flat field, then I could do it, because you can just flood it and let it soak in. But it has to be really flat to do that. Now there's lots of areas of the country that is the method of choice, because they do have extremely flat ground. You can't find a whole lot of flat ground in the Northwest. There's not a lot of flood irrigation in this valley. You'd be hard-pressed to find 100 acres of flood irrigation in the Walla Walla Valley. You have to look real hard to find it. There's just too much slope out here to all the property.